Hamburg is known for its famous Speicherstadt warehouse district, 1.5 kilometers long. Built in the late 19th century, coffee, tea, and spices are still stored here. For the past 10 years, it's also been a prominent tourist attraction.
It's lovely, and this is our second trip. The buildings are great, and the colors are different than in other cities. It's unique.
The Speicherstadt Museum, located in a warehouse built back in 1888, recounts the history of the district.
What's special about the Speicherstadt is that it's a city of warehouses. It's actually the world's largest contiguous warehouse complex.
Building the warehouse district was an enormous undertaking. 2 city districts were demolished. About 16,000 people were resettled and new canals were built. Right next door is the Kontorhaus district. Built in the 1920s, it's home to many large and architecturally impressive office buildings. One of the best known is the Chile House. Taken together, the Speicherstadt and Kontorhaus districts document 150 years of maritime history. The Naumburg Cathedral in the state of Saxony-Anhalt dates back to the 10th century. The building is a masterpiece that combines late Romanesque and Gothic architecture. The idea for submitting the cathedral and surrounding landscape for consideration as a UNESCO World Heritage Site dates back to 1998. The application is currently in the final round of consideration.
It's a distinction that offers some confirmation that this legacy is worth preserving. We should do whatever we can to preserve the character of the landscape and its monuments. We hope to attract more tourists, so that as many people as possible will get to know this area's wonderful history and culture.
8 locations around Naumburg are part of the UNESCO application. During the Middle Ages, Naumburg's status as a bishop's residence gave a boost to the entire area. Castles, palaces, and monasteries were built. Towns grew and blossomed. The Cistercian monks also made wine in the region. They grew grapes on the steep banks of the Saale and Unstrut rivers. The vineyards are still there, along with many medieval monuments. More than 1,000 years ago, this borderland between the North Sea and the Baltic was home to Hedeby. Founded by the Vikings, it was one of the first towns of Northern Europe. Situated in what is now the state of Schleswig-Holstein, both Denmark and Germany are jointly applying for UNESCO World Heritage status. The Hedeby Museum is a wonderful place to gain insight into the everyday lives of the Vikings.
There's a lot to learn here about this first town of Northern Europe. It was home to Vikings as well as Slavs, Frisians, and Saxons. 1,000 years ago, Hedeby was much like a commercial center today. All sorts of people ended up here to engage in trade.
The Vikings flourished in Northern Europe between the 9th and 11th centuries. Hedeby was just one of the settlements. Others extended from what is today Germany and Denmark to Iceland and over to Norway and Latvia. That's reflected in the World Heritage application, which now includes 5 different nations.